Hey Sainers, welcome back to the Saints TV YouTube channel. Welcome back to another Saints TV weekly video. Also, hope you're having a great long weekend. Happy Easter Monday. Hope you all enjoyed the win on Saturday afternoon. And that's where we start Saints TV Weekly. It's always good starting Saints TV Weekly straight into the news after a win because that's the first thing you talk about, the win. So let's talk about that straight off the bat. We played the Gold Coast at Marvel Stadium, 1:45 p.m. on Saturday. Bit of a crunch game. Gold Coast coming in pretty good form, winning a decent game against the Blues by 30 points the week before. And obviously us coming in 3 straight wins, flying and full of confidence going into this game. So, bit of a danger game. Missing Paddy Ryder because of the stupid 2-week suspension that I won't talk about because I'll just get too angry about it. And obviously Brett Ratton was missing as well because of COVID protocol, so he was at home. Brendan Lade took charge of the team. We ended up getting up by 26 points, and a lot of that was thanks to the return of Jack Higgins. Snags, kicking 5 goals too. Max King, I think, kicked 3 goals too as well. And those two were really the key differences as well. And those two were really the key differences in the game. It was a nice, mature performance, and I talked about it last week, but we didn't need to win fancy this week. You know, last week Hawthorn was beautiful. We got to play our style. They couldn't stop us. We kicked a big score, won by a lot. This week I knew Gold Coast were going to take it up to us and make it a bit uglier than usual and more contested because that's how good they are. They're very good in the contest with Rao, with Anderson, with Took Miller, and obviously Witts, who's probably one of the best ruckmen in the competition at the moment in terms of just pure tap ruckman. So it was always going to be tricky, but we worked around it. There wasn't one superstar on the day. Obviously Jack Higgins kicked 5, but it was across the board from back to front. Everyone played their part. You know, D-Mac was immense. Sinclair was immense against Seb Ross. Huge game from Seb Ross. So, you know, appreciation post there coming up for Seb Ross because he's turned his form around big time in the last couple of weeks and really, really impressed to see that. And yeah, we go to 4-1 now. I believe we are 4th on the AFL ladder going into today's game, the Geelong Hawthorn game. I think Geelong would have to win by over 100 points to really get close to our percentage. So I think by the end of the round, we should maintain that 4th spot going into the big game on Friday night against GWS. Now, before I get stuck into the rest of it, I just want to do a quick shout out. It's been a while, but Inglewood Coffee, we've just got the new batch delivered, which is amazing. So thank you, Inglewood Coffee Roasters, for doing that. This one is the Guji Ethiopia blend, which is dried fruit, milk, chocolate, biscuits, and florals. It's a beautiful blend. Here's the packet here with the AeroPress process, which is great. It takes 2 seconds in the morning, and it's some of the best coffee you'll get. So as you would have seen in the intro, you can go into inglewoodcoffeeroasters.com.au, use the discount code SAINTS30, and you get 30% off this blend and all the other blends and products that they've got on the website. So I think that's a great offer, and if you're a coffee fan like myself and you need your morning brew, definitely hit up inglewoodcoffeeroasters.com.au, Saints30 discount code, and get some of this delicious coffee for 30% off. Alright, so we'll keep this good vibe going in terms of the win, and some nice words came out during the week, just after the game actually, about the key turnaround and why our season and why our form has kind of become what it is. And a lot of it had to do with the big honest talks that we had mid-season last year. I think it might have been just after the Adelaide loss. Just post-bye. And this was Brendan Lade basically after the game and what he said. He said that we had that meeting in Sydney and we'll refer back to it. Standing coach Brendan Lade said post-match, we got some things out of it that were really important for our footy club. We've just focused on them and we saw a big jump in our performance in the second half of last year. It's just continued through the preseason into this year, which has been great. And then they go on to mention the return of Jack Higgins, obviously kicking 5 goals. Jade Gresham in amazing form. He had 25 and kicked 2 in the game. And then you've got the other players that kind of support. You know, Brad Hill getting back to his best run and carry in the forward half. Jack Sinclair doing it all over the ground, running and carrying, hitting targets. Seb Ross, Brad Crouch, D-Mac, all in probably career best form the way they're going. And Jack Steele obviously just doing what he does every week and having a big impact on the game. He also goes to mention, people look at our side and they've commented all year, where are our superstars? He said, but we play pretty well as a team. We have some real clarity in our roles, what we need to do. That's the challenge for us, to make sure we keep getting our roles done. So that's I just wanted to put that article in there. That was on the Saints website 18 hours ago. So a nice fresh article there. And yeah, it just talks about the big turnaround and what's been happening, from the second half of last year through to this year. We'd probably be top 5 for wins versus losses. Turnaround second half was great. We had some really good wins against Sydney, against Brisbane, and could have pinched a few against Geelong. So our form, even the back half of last year, was really solid, and we've continued that on and probably tightened it up even more in the front half of this year, which is really important because we had a bit of a softer draw for once, which is great. But now is our time to get rolling, get a good win on Friday night against GWS, and then it gets tricky because we've got Port Adelaide, who are 0-5, but it's Port Adelaide. They'll probably play well against us. And then Melbourne, Geelong. So those are probably the two benchmarks that we want to get ready for. So if we can pinch wins this week and next week, we go into the Melbourne game 6-1, Sainers. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but going into a game against Melbourne at the G, who probably would be 7-0, and we're 6-1, what a game that could be. So big couple of weeks coming up. But yeah, great article there on Brendan Lade and last year's Honest Talks. Now for some other good news. Sandringham played on the weekend, and it's always good seeing Sandy get a win, but it's even better when Zach Jones is making a return. He and Max Heath had very, very important performances. I think Zach Jones, what did he finish with? He had 27 disposals, 9 clearances, 6 inside 50s, amid a game which initially looked set to be one-way affair before turning into a hard-fought, high-scoring grind after quarter time. The 27-year-old strength in the contest drove the engine room alongside Jack Bartalia, 24 disposals as well, 7 clearances. Mitch Owens, great to see him continue his good form at Sandy, 25 disposals and 5 clearances. And I think Max Heath, he kicked 3 goals and took some pretty crucial contested marks throughout the day. But the key news obviously was Zach Jones got through the game unscathed. And there's a question mark on whether we bring him in this week or we give him one more week at Sandy. I think given he's trained at the club, he's clearly match fit. I don't think he needs more time at Sandy. I think it'd be a great bonus to bring him in this week against GWS. Our midfield just gets even stronger. GWS are bringing in Toby Green. It could be a nice even, like for like ins there. We get a big player back. They get a big player back. No harm done. It's going to be interesting to see what they do at the selection table. I think Winhager might be the one that could make way. But if he doesn't, that's fine because I'm happy with how the team's going. And there's just players across the board that are playing their role, and that leads me into my next article. This was the 8 things we learned, and this is from the AFL website. And generally I don't talk about these articles because the AFL don't like us and they don't like to pump us up. But lately they're pumping us up, and the number one thing that they learnt this week is this Saint might be the league's most improved player. Who could that be, Sainers? I'll give you a second. Just give you a second while I have a sip of this Inglewood Gucci Ethiopia blend. Who could it be? Could be D-Mac. Could be D-Mac. Could be, I don't know, Brad Hill. Could be even Max King. Wrong. Obviously, it's Jack bloody Sinclair. They've written here, Jack Sinclair has played over 100 games under his belt. He's been playing since 2015, but remarkably, his 8th season in the league is shaping as his breakout. He's now turned 27, so he's getting to that prime age. Was primarily used as a running defender in the past 2 years, but has made a permanent move to the midfield with devastating results. His run and carry is a key feature of the Saints' attacking plan, and he racked up a game-high 524 metres gained from his 27 disposals on the weekend in the win over Gold Coast. He's now averaging just over 27 touches a game and a tick under 500 metres gained per game. That is number 1 on the list, and I love that Jack Sinclair's finally getting some of that coverage that he deserves. Everyone kind of rates him internally. Externally, they're like, oh, Jack Sinclair's a very neat player. He's not A grade. He is absolutely, without an argument, this guy is an A grade player. if we talk about Saints don't have A-grade players, I honestly think that we're starting to see a few A-grades coming through. Max King, 100% is an A-grade tall. Jack Steele is 100% an A-grade mid. Rowan Marshall, Paddy Ryder, 100% A-grade ruck duo. And individually, I would say they're both A-grade. They're both critical. Jade Gresham is in A-grade career best form. Jack Sinclair, A-grade career best form. D-Mac, arguably career best form on the wing. A-grade, probably not, but he's right up there. He's playing his role. Seb Ross, back to his best and fairest form. Jack Higgins, he's absolutely an A-grade small forward. There is so much talent on this list that people do not look at. They don't look at. Jack Sinclair's getting some coverage, but you could give coverage to 6 other Saints that are doing the same thing every week. But they've picked Jack Sinclair. He's 35, he's got the mullet, he's a midfielder, easy to get coverage when you're doing that. But it's the D-Max, the Seb Ross, Brad Hill getting back to his best and running off half forward. It's these things that are critical to our success. So I love that he's getting the credit, but this just to me is a little glimpse into why we've improved this year. And there's another 7 or 8 players, maybe even another 20 players that have done bits and pieces this year that have gotten us to 4-1 and in calculations to play finals and maybe even sneak a top 4 berth, depending on how we go for the rest of the year. But yeah, it's great to see coverage for Sinks. He's deserved it. And I reckon right now my off-season call of him being All-Australian is in pretty good stead. I reckon he's right in that 44 squad at the moment, and he could probably sneak onto a bench or even on a half-back flank in the actual team. But we'll find out at the end of the year. It gives me, great introduction into the questions, and now we get to talk about where the hell is my phone? Be right back. I don't have my phone. I need my phone for the questions. And we're back. So we've got the weekly questions here. That shows how we're so prepared on Saints TV Weekly. The people in the background, the production crew, we've got the director and the producer over there. We don't actually. There's no one here. It's just me in my office. And I'm the director, producer, actor, editor, whatever you want to call it. And clearly didn't remember that I had questions to talk about this week, which is a bit weird because it's the best part of the show. Absolutely best part of the show. All right, let's find some questions here. Charlie Vag. He's asking, who comes out for Clark, Jones, Billings and Ryder when they are back? I wouldn't jump the gun just yet. Obviously, we've got Jones that might come back in this week, but Clark, I'd say he's a couple of weeks away. Billings, a couple of weeks away. Ryder, a couple of weeks away. So at the moment, we'll just go based on form. That's what it is. Some of them might have to go to Sandy. JB might have to go to Sandy and get some minutes. Jonesy did, so why wouldn't Clark and Ryder, So I think we've got battle for positions. I think Ryder, obviously, Hayes would probably come out and just straight swap. Jones, probably Windhager. Billings could be someone like a Nasai, but I don't think he deserves to be dropped. And yeah, Billings and Clark, how do you fit them in? Who comes out? So it's going to be really tough choices. Ben Long, does he come out? It's going to be really, really tough for the selection team, but it's a good problem to have. I think this is Minor WC, or I'm not sure how you pronounce that name. They're asking current form, give you optimism for when we play Melbourne and other top teams. I think so. I think we're playing a really good brand of footy. I think it's contested. We don't just play outside footy. I think the key difference between us now and in 2020 was that in 2020 we played kind of soft outside football and it wasn't really hard contested ball football. And this year it's a mix of fast, uncontested, but also we're leading a lot of key stats in the contested ball and clearances. And that's missing Paddy Ryder this week, and we dominated clearances when we thought Gold Coast were going to have a big upper hand in that area. So I think the way we're playing football is definitely football that can win finals. Not just big games in season, but seriously big games in September. So I'm pretty confident that when we play those teams, we'll give it a red hot crack, absolutely. This one's from the Tim Raisin group. Sinks or Gresh? Who is having the better season so far? Love them both. I might have to say Gresh, honestly, just because Gresh has come back from an Achilles injury, which is not easy. He's averaging 25 disposals and I think 2 goals a game. That's his averages. So the key difference between Gresh and Sinks is great with the ball in hand. He's a great kicker and sets up the play beautifully off halfback and through the midfield. But Gresh can get the ball. He's a big clearance player for us, but he hits the scoreboard. And any midfielder that can hit the scoreboard regularly like Gresh is super important for any good team. So Gresh probably just a little bit, but obviously Sinks is probably career best form and might be even leading the best and fairest at the moment. Who knows? Is Max King this generation's plugger? yeah, bit much to go straight off the bat there, but I think he could be the next, people liken him to the next Buddy Franklin, and not saying he's going to be like Buddy Franklin, kick 1,000 goals. It's just, when you go to games and Buddy gets the ball, you just think, this is amazing to watch. And when Buddy runs to the ball, it's amazing to watch. Or he gets the ball and he starts running towards goal, you're like, this is just brilliant. Max King, on the weekend, even when we bombed it to him and it was 1-on-4, people were still, like, the crowd got off their seats a little bit, and not many players can do that. Not many tall forwards in the comp do that. Only a handful probably, or less. So Max King is definitely going to get, he's going to sell out some games in the next couple of years when he's on fire. He's already kicked 16 goals. He's leading the Coleman or equal. I don't think he's the next generation's Plugger. I think he's the next generation's Max King. And he's going to win a lot of games for us, and he's going to sell out stadiums and hopefully win some finals and premierships for us as well. So, he's only 21. There's a lot of upside to him, and that's the most exciting thing. So let's just take the pressure off and just enjoy the ride. Every week's going to be a new experience and a big opportunity for Maxi to kick that next bag. So I can't wait to see what he can do on Friday night. And lastly, James is asking, how does 6-1 sound? Mate, I wish we were 6-1 right now, but we might have to wait a couple more weeks for that. But that sounds bloody amazing. If we can land 6-1, you'd have to say finals is 90% of the way there, because you probably need 12 wins, 13 wins, and to have 6 after 7 weeks, you're absolutely laughing and flying. So yeah, I would absolutely love to get 6-1. It would be a dream come true. Waking up and being like, we've won 6 in a row. Pretty good form leading up to the Melbourne game. Couldn't be in better form, really. But we'll have to wait and see. Well, there you have it, Sainers. There's Saints TV Weekly. Thanks to Inglewood Coffee for providing delicious coffee for Saints TV Weekly every week. Bit of a longer one this week, but it's all good news, Sainers. It's all good vibes, I'm feeling good. Channel's going well. The club's going well. Weather's pretty shit, but it's Melbourne, so you take it. Coffee's delicious. Nothing bad going on. It's a good feeling after the last couple of weeks. So thanks again for watching, Sainers. The podcast will be out tomorrow night. I've got my review that's out on YouTube as well if you want to catch that. And obviously player ratings, they dropped yesterday on Easter Sunday. So you may have missed it if you were busy with family things. So you can catch that on the channel as well. And then I think on Wednesday, Thursday, the preview for the St Kilda GWS game will drop on the channel. You'll be able to watch that before the big game on Friday night. And then right after the game, as always, I'll be back for the live review, hopefully, with a bit of red wine, bit of champagne maybe, and we can celebrate a big win on Friday night against the Giants. But until then, guys, take care of yourselves. As always, go you mighty Sainers. See you guys.